what's on that as well. Right now, though, let's talk to William Clouston, who is, of course, the leader of the Social Democratic Party. We already had Rod Liddle on. I'm not quite sure how this happened, William, but it sounds as though we're doing a sort of an SDP special. It wasn't planned that way.
We're taking over. We're taking over.
Yes, well, quite. I mean, he's a very high-profile member of your party. He's a very sensible man. You heard him probably saying all the things that he said earlier on today. What are you making of it all so far in terms of the way the government's operating? You know, clearly there are things that they're getting wrong. Overall, I would say I think they're sort of stewarding their way through it reasonably well.
Yeah, I think Rod's probably right in saying we're probably performing sort of mid-table internationally, and obviously mistakes were made, as they have been in every other country in this. Every single country has made mistakes. I mean, it would be nice if politicians were a little bit more open about saying, yes, we got that wrong. It's not really in their nature to do that. It's interesting comparing the British politicians with the Swedes. The Swedes seem quite open to saying, yes, I mean, on protecting the elderly, for instance. Yes. They've admitted they got that wrong. And I think we've got it wrong as well. But I mean, overall, I think going forward, the basic idea to try and get out of the lockdown step by step is correct. How else could you do it?
Yes, well, exactly right. And I think, you know, the nettle has to be grasped, as it were. It's all very well for people like some of the rather more outrageous teaching unions to say, oh, well, we're not sure it's safe to go back. You know, people have been working throughout. The people have been working in the supermarkets, people have been working in the NHS, people have been driving around delivering things. You know, the idea that somehow teachers are going, oh, it's too dangerous to go back to work. Well, really? Is it?
Yeah, no, I mean, you'd never unlock at all if you had that attitude. We've got family members and friends of the teachers and NHS staff, and they're working. And, you know, it's just not an option to stop the government from unlocking stage by stage. We must do. And a point I've made, I think last time I was on with you, looking forward, you've got to look at the tax base. You've got to look at the economy. You can't ignore that as if that side of the tennis net doesn't matter at all. Yeah. After all, if you ignore that completely, I mean, it's true that what we've discovered is that a government's very powerful, and a government that says, look, I'll send a 25-kilo sack of oats to every household and a few sardines and just stay there. Well, you can do that, but you'll end up as a sort of subsistence economy in the end, and you've got to have a route out of that, and I think the government's attempts to do so should be supported.
Yes, quite. And I'm wondering, and I know you've got some policy on this which we'll get to, whether actually the stimulus that will come as a result of this particular crisis will actually make the economy stronger in the end.
Well, it will. Yes, if the policymakers get it right, it will. I mean, our basic policy is that we should, there should be a significant stimulus, and there has to be, and there is. I mean, the furloughing and all the other programs are extremely costly. Yeah. And what you'll find internationally, one of the sad consequences of crises is that the rich get richer, the strong get stronger, and the poor get poorer. Right. And
pretty much like the rest of the year, then.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a tragedy, but you've got to decide which category you're going to be in now. In the EU, Germany is protecting the Mittelstand and the Central German production capacity massively. I mean, the resources that are going into that are huge. Poor old Italians don't have that luxury, and as a result, when we get out of it, a lot of the industrial production in Germany will be there and ready to take it back up when we do unlock and the economy gets back to normal. And a lot of industry in Southern Europe will be lost for good, and that makes German policy in terms of looking after their economy correct.
Doesn't say much for the EU, though, does it?
No, not at all. And it's funny. I mean, when you look at Britain can only do that. We can only act. I mean, our policy is to have a long-term sinking fund, a large sinking fund, probably a 60-year sinking fund. Set the Office for Budget Responsibility, the OBR. They should be tasked with working out which bits of this crisis are economically are attributable to the virus. Put all of that in the sinking fund and keep the economy going. It's absolutely vital. What you can't do is a sort of second wave of austerity at this point. You can't do that. You've got to keep the economy going, keep production going, and if you do that, you will be better off in the long run. It's very interesting that we can only do this because we've got control. We've got our own currency.
Yes.
And the people, if you go back 20 years when the euro was being mooted as an idea for this country to join, the people that kept us out of it are unsung heroes, actually. Funnily enough, people I don't often praise, Ed Balls, Gordon Brown.
Yeah.
They kept us out of it. If we'd gone Blair's way, we wouldn't.
He was keen, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. I mean...
well, also, I remember the same people who told us if we left the European Union we would be in dire penury were the same ones who told us if we didn't join the euro, it would be the biggest colossal financial meltdown ever.
Well, you would, if you were in the euro now, you'd be unable to stimulate the economy as is appropriate for your own economy. And as I say, Ed Balls and Gordon Brown don't often. They should really be. We should have statues with them on horseback because we wouldn't be able to operate. I mean, the poor Italians are completely fettered. So that's the idea. You've got to keep things going.
Right. So would you avoid any extra taxes being levied as well then?
For the next couple of years, yes, certainly, because it's madness. Absolutely, it amounts to the same thing, and it's worth doing a little bit of maths on it. The OBR thought, the effects of the pandemic this year might be in the region of 300 billion. Well, if you put that into a 60-year sinking fund, if you did it straight line, the cost per annum would be 5 billion. Right. The interest would be less than that. It is affordable. It is absolutely affordable. But going forward, you have to look at our overall economy. We have to have the Social Democrats support a much more domestically focused economics. We're quite happy to have a little bit of trade friction, actually. Yeah. You've got to look at import substitution. All these people that for 30 years have said it doesn't matter where things are made, they're wrong.
Yes. Well, we certainly need to be much less associated and dependent upon China.
Yeah.
It seems to me.
And it's not, it's not just the economic madness of being dependent on China. It's actually, you're dealing with a very totalitarian state. And morally, you've got to think, was it ever right to set our workers up against, in some cases, factories which are pretty close to slavery?
Yeah, exactly.
And it never was, and people won't talk about it. We will.
No, quite. And that's the other thing about the whole business of China, where yesterday, slavishly, Sky TV was reporting with great enthusiasm that, the ambassador to the UK from China had said there was no cover-up. As if, okay, that's all right then.
If you believe that, anything.
I've got some swampland in Florida to sell you. But the kind of the ease with which some of this stuff is bought and kind of believed is astonishing to me.
It is, but the problem is, as I say, Mike, we've had 30 years for different reasons. The sort of progressive woke left, hate anything national. Yeah. So if you say we want a sort of nationally focused training program for vocational training, you can't just import all the labour you need. Right. You might need to restrict immigration a bit. You get absolutely criticised. Yes. But on the same...
You must be some kind of racist, surely.
Yeah, it's crazy to want to train your own people. Right. And then on the other side, you've had the sort of free marketeers, the ultra-liberal free marketeers, that are completely indifferent to whether trains, planes, or anything else is made here or anywhere else. Right. And they're both wrong, actually. And what most people, the mainstream of this country, are pretty much where the Social Democrats are, which is that we need more domestic focus in what we do, more national solidarity, and if we do so, the future's very good. Yeah, you might even get the odd flag waving going on without being called racist as well. Makes perfect sense to me, William. Thank you very much indeed. William Clouston there, who is, of course, the leader of the Social Democratic Party, a man that makes an awful lot of common sense as well. Now, if only we had people like William running the country,